I am so proud of myself. Today marks the 10-year anniversary since I have personally pre-ordered a video game. I have been a steadfast, rock-solid illustration of how video gamers should treat games that they are excited about. All right, I'm off to Amazon. I need this game day one. Day one, I'm pre-ordering it. So disgusted with myself.
The Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem. Okay, hi and welcome to the Gaming Lovers. I'm Jem.
I'm Brendo, episode 116. And in Roman numerals, I'm not even going to attempt that one, but it would be C... my brain stopped working. CXVI, and that really wasn't that complicated. It sounded like it would be. And we are the Gaming Lovers anyway, here and excited to talk about all the 35th anniversary Super Mario news.
Let's go!
They are milking the Mario franchise for all it is worth. But
and we are happily paying for it. So... can you blame them?
when the milk is that good a quality, you can't say no to that much milk.
I think we all want some nostalgic milk.
But interestingly enough, it has been almost radio silent from PlayStation and Xbox. So we're just going to have a quick discussion later if no news is bad news before we dive into some Mario goodies as well. But before we get there, as always, it's time once again for Gaming Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, Gaming Goals here.
Step right up. All right, I'll go first. Fall Guys.
Yes, Fall Guys, the hunt for glory. The hunt for crowns continues.
I hate Slime Climb. I feel like I say this a lot now. Die, Slime Climb. No, it's gotten harder. I feel like they've made the game harder since it started. Like, you hit things and you fall easier than you used to. Like, you fumble more, you bounce off things harder. Like, I don't know if it's in my head. I just feel as if they have tweaked the system a little bit.
100% they have, because even when two beans bump into each other, they bump much further than they used to, which means those tight quarters trying to get across a skinny platform, if you have multiple people trying to do that at the same time, good luck, because you're all bouncing off each other. As you said, Slime Climb was difficult to begin with. And now you have more bumpery off your fellow bean.
I've never beaten that level. Never, ever. I did finally get to replay and actually beat, I've even forgot the name of it because it's had it so few, but the one where it just spins the arms.
Jump Club?
Something like that. The one that looks like traditional, like a Wipeout level. And yeah, so I had only ever had that once before out of all the other levels. So I was so excited when it came back up. And I finally got to beat it instead of just getting caught on the arm and thrown around. But I will say I kind of enjoy playing in tandem with you. Like, sometimes we'll be sitting there together and we'll take turns. And if it's a level that I feel like I'm good at or just really enjoy, then I'll play. And if it's a level I suck at or that you're better at...
she'll blame me for failing at it instead. That's the part that you really enjoy.
Not always. There are ones that you are just better at. That you're more comfortable with your platforming skills.
Fall Guys has officially been out for over a month now, and we are still crownless because we are pathetic and suck at Fall Guys, apparently.
Oh, I do play it less and less now, though, too. I'm looking forward to there being an update to add new levels, hopefully. Time will tell, but...
Season 2 is in the works with a medieval theme on some of there has been a little sneaky peeky trailer at some of the goodies that are coming in Season 2. But statistically, if there is a 60-player game, right, every time, and only one person can win, theoretically, does that mean if you play 60 games, on average, you should win at least one?
Well, if everyone was evenly matched,
let's take
then
skill
yes.
out of the equation.
Yes, if it was purely based on like a number and chance, then yes.
I
But
wish there
no,
was a
this
way.
is skill-based.
I wish there was a way to see how many games I've actually done of Fall Guys and set the limit that if I do not get it within 60, that's it. Fall Guys gets deleted instantly. Never to be played again. Never, ever. My son will never play Fall Guys because of the shame of his father.
By the time he's old enough to appreciate games, that will probably seem archaic to him anyway. So aside from being utterly defeated in Fall Guys, I've played a little bit of Dragon Age Inquisition, and I keep falling into the same trap of, Player 3 is probably going to wake any moment. I'll just do some side quest stuff. I won't jump into any story missions. And then he sleeps for ages, and I'm like, I could have played a good story chunk. And instead I've just been hunting shards. Oh, well.
Oh, well, it's still busy work, which does pay off in a game of that size.
Yeah.
You're still ticking boxes, and hopefully you're still having fun. Because that's what video games are supposedly all about, not stress and frustration at not being able to win a Battle Royale platformer. But no, you're supposed to have fun when you play games. So as long as that is achieved, it's not a wasted session. But having said that, please don't fall into that trap. I'm not saying that someone else in this booth fell into that trap recently with another game. We'll get to that later. Are you going to be beating Dragon Age Inquisition anytime in the next few months? Because it seems to be slow going.
Oh, well, it's a huge game. It really depends. I would like to. Normally, I'd say in the next few months, no problem. But everything is like moving at glacial speed as far as progress with what I get to play these days. So,
our lives have changed.
They really have. They really, really, really have. Like, I think about the lockdown, and we're in particularly quite heavy lockdown here in Melbourne, and just how much free time I would have if Player 3 wasn't around. I'd probably be burning through so many games were we back to where we were at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
But as it stands, I feel as if just super busy still.
Well, it's a sign that you're a good mother, because the past 3 months you have played less video games than probably any time in the past decade. And that's a testament to your good motherhoodness ability.
Just wait till he's fighting for the controller and wants to play games, and then we're like, no, son, it's my turn to play games.
Wait a second. I just realised by saying that you're playing much less games, which in turn means you must be a good mother, what does it mean when I'm about to rattle off 3 major video games that I have been investing a lot of hours into this past fortnight?
It means that he sleeps more for you?
We'll run with that, because I'm a good father, I promise you.
You are.
Let's start at the beginning, because apparently that's a very good place to start. At the end of last episode, I said I was going to chase down the Platinum Trophy in Dark Souls 2, or at least continue the journey therein. And probably within 48 hours, I had done it. Mm-hmm. And it feels like so long ago, because we do fortnightly podcasts now, and I thought, surely I talked about platinuming Dark Souls 2, because that was like ages ago, right? No, it was within this past 14 days, and that just blows my mind, because my mind has no brain left to think with tired and brain fog. But Dark Souls 2, I have achieved a platinum trophy that is difficult, that I thought I would not get ever, and that makes me feel pretty darn good. Now, it's interesting because the platinum I got for Sonic Forces is like literally 10 times more rare than Dark Souls 2 platinum trophy, which is kind of funny. But look, charging through the game, playing it differently on the New Game Plus, which I've never done in a Dark Souls game before, charging through, ticking a few specific boxes of what to do for trophies, but then just charging through a game like this. I'm so used to playing them so cautiously, so carefully, exploring every nook and cranny for every little hidden goodie that I can find, dying to pretty much every single enemy in this game, and charging through New Game Plus, skipping most enemies wherever I could. I adjusted my build to use magic, so I was slinging little lightning bolts at people, and it made me feel pretty cool. And congratulations to me, Dark Souls 2 Platinum Trophy.
Congratulations.
achieved a gaming goal.
Bleep bloop.
That's good news. Something that hasn't been as successful this past fortnight, because I did fall into a similar trap to you multiple nights in the past week. Ghost of Tsushima, where I have made not as much progress as I would have liked, because stirring baby means Brendo goes, I'll put the controller down. He'll probably need me in a... Oh, no, he's fallen back asleep. Well, he's probably going to stir again in 5 minutes, so... I'll just do side stuff. I won't bother doing any important missions because I am enjoying the actual story missions in Ghost of Tsushima. I like the fact that the side quests, there are some one-offs, and most of the others follow characters. You're going through their mission with them, sort of as a co-pilot to whatever goal they're trying to achieve. I in particularly like Sensei Ishikawa because he has a fantastic head of hair that I could imitate. I found someone I could cosplay as, darling.
Oh, really?
Because he's completely bald on the top and has a high ponytail at the back. So if I grew my hair out, I could cosplay as Sensei Ishikawa.
I wonder if that was a deliberate fashion choice or that was their way of disguising that they're balding.
It looks cooler than having old man bald head. The high pony. What do you think? Should I? Should I grow it out?
No.
Should I take up archery and wear cool robes? Because then I could just be Sensei Ishikawa.
Don't know if it'll have the same effect.
No?
No.
I'm not that cool?
So...
I do like his storyline, though. He has a apprentice that is gone rogue, and you are going through all these different missions, about 9 in total, to see that storyline through. It is fantastic, and every single mission in that storyline I have enjoyed. Ghost of Tsushima, still enjoying it. Slower progress than I expected, but I am greatly enjoying my time with Ghost of Tsushima. I have so many different suits of armors, and I really only use like 2 of them because the others have their specific uses, but they're not always useful. Whereas being super stealthy or super strong in pure crazy melee combat are really the only 2 playstyles I use. So there's lots of options, but, you know, some, I think, are much more favoured by the populace that are enjoying Ghost of Tsushima than others. Part of the reason why Ghost of Tsushima has made such slow progress was my son, but also part of it has been another game that I have been playing cooperatively with my good buddy the Falcon, Resident Evil 5, a game I haven't played in over a decade, probably, since it was on the Xbox 360. I only played it solo back then with an AI partner because the whole game is pretty much forced co-op. You have 2 characters, you're playing as one, someone else, or the Xbox itself is being the other. And the problem is when you have an AI companion in a game where ammo and resources are quite limited, the AI is prone to waste your ammo when you don't want it to be used, prone to wasting your healing items at inopportune moments. Save those heals. They are rare and valuable. And so playing through a game that does get a lot of flack in the Resident Evil series because it is so action-based compared to the spookies, it wasn't really a strong point, and it was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, the zombie camel, the straw that broke the zombie camel's back, which turned me off the Resident Evil series for a while, years and years ago. Now, playing through it with a actual human partner, at least I assume my good buddy the Falcon's a human. He could be a very convincing android, and I'm just not aware. But playing through with a human partner has made this game so much more enjoyable than I expected. We are playing through on a higher difficulty, which means the tension is much higher, and the fact that it's an action-y game, now that I've had time to mellow out and accept the change that went through the Resident Evil series, we're having a blast, and we cannot get enough of playing this game. If we go for the Platinum Trophy, which we may indeed do, it's going to take a lot of busy work with this one. So maybe that's not going to make it to the gaming goals to stamp the Platinum Trophy stamp on this game, but we're having a good time with Resident Evil 5. One of the highlights has been the voice acting. which not for the reason you may expect when it comes to Resident Evil, because we've explained many times, classic, Resident Evil 1, horrible voice acting, but that's not what has made me snicker. It is the fact that Chris Redfield, your main character, your primary protagonist, is voiced by the same voice actor who voices the current iteration of Sonic the Hedgehog. So when Chris Redfield, big tough muscle-bound Chris Redfield, is trying to give orders or explain some plot,
Yep.
all I can hear is Sonic the Hedgehog. And it is confusing me so much.
Is that Craig Roger Smith?
It is indeed Roger Craig Smith. You got the right names, just in the wrong order. And what has also been funny is that the villain in the game, Wesker, spoilers for Resident Evil 1, which came out like decades ago, he is voiced by DC Douglas, who has voiced many characters that we have enjoyed the performances of in recent years, including, all I can literally hear is Rufus Alborea from the Trails of Cold Steel series. So when he's going, "So, you've finally fallen into my trap." That's all I can hear. He's also Zero from Zero Time Dilemma. He's also Kamoshida from Persona 5.
Yep.
So we've got lots of villain going on. He seems to only be cast as a villain, but when you've got a voice that cool, why not? Mm-hmm. He's the Dennis Hopper of voice actors.
I remember being told in a voice acting workshop with Crispin Freeman to not be afraid of being typecast because it means you will book work.
Yes.
As opposed to, I think, a lot of people think that actors want to be able to do everything or not locked into one type of job because they want to have diverse work. And it may be true for more on-screen type actors. But, yeah, he said it's kind of the opposite for voice actors. A lot of them know what they're good at and lean into that typecasting a lot more. Mm-hmm. So that's why you'll find them doing a lot of very similar kind of stuff.
Look at you. You know all about that industry because you are a professional voiceover artist.
And a huge nerd.
Yes, that's probably more of a contributing factor. Resident Evil 5 has been very enjoyable and will be our primary game that we are enjoying at our cuckoo video gaming hours of midnight to 3 a.m. whenever the baby allows me to play games at that time. And my good buddy the Falcon isn't working night shifts like he is at the moment.
Aww. Oh,
I miss you, Falcon.
Don't want a game all by myself.
It's good news for...
Sorry.
It's good news for Ghosts of Tsushima, though. It does get bumped to the primary slot when the Falcon is not available. Mm-hmm. So that's it. That's gaming goals right here for this fortnight.
Nice.
Very good. 35 years. Things that are 35 years old at the moment are fantastic. And that includes the Super Mario Brothers franchise, which we're going to be having a quick look at all the news, the anniversary specials that they are releasing. And boy, are there a lot of them.
You're listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. Want to join the conversation? Visit thegaminglovers.com. Record your comment or question by clicking on the button on the right-hand side. And you could be featured in the next podcast.
'Cause she's still preoccupied with 1985. Was that Bowling for Soup?
I can't remember. It's so long
I
since
believe it was Bowling for Soup, who also do Phineas and Ferb entrance song.
There you go.
It's the same voice. You can pick it, can't you?
Now that you've mentioned it, I can, but I wouldn't have known that just from listening to Phineas and Ferb.
Well, and in case you were on the Roman numerals train, 1985, MDCCCXC... No, hang on, that's 1895. I've punched that into Google wrong. Oh, I was trying to look smart.
That's funny. Oh, it's just your old 35-year-old brain.
Hey, don't give away my age on this podcast. There could be people who think I'm a 21-year-old heartthrob.
If anyone's been to our website, thegaminglovers.com, they will know that's not you.
So for those who are curious, I assume you're going to edit this, yes? Those who are curious, 1985 in Roman numerals is MCML XXXV. So there you go. The Romans knew how to do it stylistically, right? Very cool. Why use 4 numbers when you could use 8 letters? 9 letters. 9 letters.
That's because that was the system that they had.
Super Mario Brothers. 35-year anniversary since the Super Mario Brothers game has been released on the NES, which we actually got quite a little history lesson on the Netflix series High Score.
That was interesting to watch that documentary. I really enjoyed seeing some of the original artists and creators of certain games kind of showing their sketchbooks of all their concept art and how they pixelated different characters.
Big graph paper.
Like Space Invaders, figuring out just how many pixels they would need for each creation and the like. That kind of stuff, so fascinating. I wish that they had kind of gone into more history. Like there's just so much other stuff and there's still history being made today as far as video games. But you never know. As this industry continues to boom, and I think it's been one of the strongest ones even in the midst of this pandemic, it's got a long road ahead of it. But one in particular, obviously you can't look at video game history without looking at the juggernaut that is Nintendo. As soon as they kind of hit the scene, they have been a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm. Basically, by default, they took the number 1 video game company spot in that late 80s until Sega gave them a run for their money, but that didn't last. So Nintendo continues to be the powerhouse.
Even if Sega does what Nintendo don't. Yeah, Nintendo has withstood a lot of competition. You think of the competition that's come up since then as well from PlayStation and Xbox and PC and the like. I would say Nintendo is almost synonymous with gaming as far as like a term that people would almost use, kind of like when you use Google as a verb instead of as, you know, the brand of the search engine. People sometimes will say, use Nintendo as a synonym for gaming.
A parent would walk in and see the Xbox and say, oh, you're just playing Nintendo, aren't you? It's just video game. That's how synonymous.
Well, it's been around a long time. Xbox is still quite young comparatively, even PlayStation. And Nintendo, I think, is in a lot more households around the world, especially because it has so much family-friendly content comparatively, that it's just broader known. And that's why we're super excited for all the awesome nostalgia stuff that they are bringing back.
Yeah, there's not many companies that could release and announce so much stuff based on one property without everyone going, this is ridiculous. Do you remember when Persona got its dancing games, Persona Q, Persona 5, all announced within a few weeks, and everyone's like, no, this is too many games. Stop milking this franchise.
Although they were all awesome. Milk us more, Persona.
But Nintendo, with their Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary spectacular stream, they showed off so many things that had my gaming glands salivating. The first of which, Super Mario All-Stars, the Super Nintendo compilation of Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3, and the Lost Levels, which, for those who don't know, was released in Japan as pretty much Super Mario Brothers 2, but it was too darn difficult for the Americans, so they decided to rebrand it as the Lost Levels.
I bet that offends some like really good Mario gamers in America today.
I tried to play it. It's actually very difficult. So it's not just Americans, it's Australians as well.
I would say it's most anybody like that doesn't obsessively play.
Yeah. That has been added to the Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo emulator thingy, and for me, this hits a little nostalgic sweet spot straight out the bat because this is how I experienced Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3 and Lost Levels the very first time. Because I had a friend in primary school who had this compilation and the graphics are redone closer to Super Mario World. And so when I try and play the NES versions of Mario Brothers 3, for example, the colours look so bland and faded. When I try to play Super Mario Brothers 2, it looks so pixely and horrible. I didn't like playing the NES versions, which were available on all these things, But now with Super Mario All-Stars, I can enjoy and have enjoyed all 4 of these games in the past few days. Gave them a little sample to kick in that little nostalgia dream that I had. Absolutely lovely.
I keep thinking back to our episode that we did about YouTube gamers. And there's one channel in particular I know was probably like salivating at all of the announcements.
There's a lot of salivating going on.
Yes. Do you know?
Get the mop.
Do you know who I'm referring to?
I'm assuming it's the ambassador for the game
Mario
of the decade,
2.
Super Mario Brothers 2.
Donkey. He often plays, like, so many of his videos are about Super Mario. And he seems quite good at it, actually. He's done some of the hardest levels on, like, Super Mario Maker.
Seeing him bang his head against a wall on those is hilarious.
But he's beaten some of the hardest ones. Like, that is impressive to me. So I think he's going to relish a lot of these being rebooted.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of minor things that are added to existing games that Mario themed with the mobile phone, smartphone game, Mario Kart Tour having a Super Mario Kart event. Again, throwback to the Super Nintendo era where you've got SNES Mario and SNES Donkey Kong Jr., which will be appearing in that. There is a new speedrun course arriving in Mario Maker 2 in November, which is, you know, in case you hadn't had enough torture from Mario Maker 2 Donkey, here's another one for you. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's having an in-game online tournament using Super Mario Bros. Characters, stages, items in November and December.
Yep.
Splatoon 2 is getting a Super Mario-themed Splatfest in January. Which Super Mario power-up do you prefer? The mushroom or the star? Do you like to be supersized or would you like to be invincible for a short time?
I think invincible. I am invincible. Always like getting the star in Mario Kart, so...
Yeah, well, as somebody who was literally the shortest person in class for the first, 9, 10 years of school, I'll pick the mushroom because then I would be taller than everyone else. And, of course, Animal Crossing New Horizons is getting some Super Mario-themed furniture. I guess that will be a mushroom stool and a piranha plant pipe in your front garden. I don't know.
Well, they've already had Mario, I guess, items and the like in the mobile version of Animal Crossing. So I reckon they'll just probably recycle all of those items and pop them in. It seems pretty logical to me.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the biggest gaming announcements in quite some time, not only Super Mario 64 being brought to the Switch, not only Super Mario Sunshine making its way off the GameCube for the first time ever in a remaster onto the Switch.
Yep.
Not only Super Mario Galaxy, which could only be played with Wiimotes, being moved onto the Switch, but all 3 of these stellar games in a compilation.
Mm-hmm. And for a limited time.
Oh,
those sneaky buggers.
Sinister. Now, there are some games that are only available physically in a limited run.
Yeah.
Limited editions, this game's only going to get Vita cartridges, whatever. There's only going to be 1,000 of them. So if you want them, get them now. This game's only getting a limited release physically. That's fine. That's standard issue. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which contains these 3 games, is only being sold from September to next March on both physical copies and digital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That is a bit of gaming FOMO, I think. Fear of missing out is in effect.
Yep.
I think they are going to try and drive up their sales to finish off their financial quarter
Really strong.
because idiots are going to rush out there and pre-order this game because they have FOMO, fear of missing out.
And gee, I wonder which idiots have already pre-ordered it.
Me! I'm the idiot. I haven't pre-ordered a game. I think the last thing we collectively pre-ordered was like Mass Effect 3.
Yes.
Which had a
special
collectible
edition. Yep.
We didn't want to miss out on that. So that was for you. But for me, I can't even remember the last game I pre-ordered. It's been far too long.
I think we've been burned by, or we've seen other people get burned by the whole pre-ordering system too, though, of whether sometimes when you pre-order, you don't get it as quickly as someone who can go purchase it at a midnight launch or day one, or the content that is supposed to be promised with, day one or pre-orders is really lackluster.
And the reviews come out.
Yes.
And it's just
and you're like,
6 out of 10 game.
You're like, you.
What have I done?
So I think we've become a little bit wiser until now.
Now, not only are those 3 major titles coming to the Switch, there's also a Wii U title that we said will obviously be ported to the Switch before the Switch's lifetime is over.
Yes. Super Mario 3D World. And they've added, I think, an extra level, it looked like, Bowser's Fury. They didn't really say. They just had like this ominous section.
It's something.
With Cat Mario kind of sitting out the front. But yeah, I'm guessing extra content to kind of make it worth paying full price again.
Yeah, we did enjoy our time with Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U. It's a great 4-player game when you have 4 capable players.
Was that the first time you could bubble through sections if it was too hard for you and like lean on somebody else to do all the heavy lifting?
That was also on New Super Mario Brothers, which is oh God. There not only was New Super Mario Brothers, there was also New Super Mario Brothers U.
Oh, okay.
And then there was Super Mario 3D World, not to be mistaken with Super Mario 3D Land, which is on the 3DS.
Oh my goodness.
This is just Nintendo's naming things. I like Mario 64 because it's on the 64, Sunshine because it's different, Galaxy because it's different. Not all these games that sound the same. It's confusing. Confusing. You know what else is confusing? Modern technology. And Mario Kart Live home circuit is something that I would have literally killed for as a child. But probably shouldn't say that on a recording, should I? Is that bad for my character? You have remote control go-karts that are Mario Brothers characters. So you have basically Mario Kart in your house, which is cool enough to begin with. But through the wonders of augmented reality and little tunnels you can put in places.
Special gates that they use to track.
Much better word for it.
Yep.
Not a tunnel. You can place them in your house. You can program in a circuit, which then shows up on a screen because there's a camera on the. There's a camera on the go-kart which sees your living room, and then you drive through the gate and you can see the track and you can see items and you can see AI characters that aren't actually in your living room, and it's
fascinating. It's kind of like using that technology that they have in cars for self-driving as well as keeping you in lanes.
Oh, man, it's
like
incredible.
If you kind of start drifting out. We have it in our car, our newer car, where if you do drift a little bit, it'll automatically kind of bring you back in between the lines.
Yeah. Now we just need our car to be updated to include this game so I can drive through item boxes on the drive on the freeway. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Amazingly dangerous. People are bad enough without adding banana peels everywhere. I think for me, the one that stood out, aside from obviously Super Mario 64, was the Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Because that to me, like, immediately I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's one of my earliest memories of gaming is playing on Game & Watch. And they're releasing one in the same kind of colour scheme that I had with the red and gold.
Old school red and gold Game & Watch. It will be able to play Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels.
Yes.
And a special version of Ball with Mario.
Yes. Which is one of the games that I had where you have to like catch it. It kind of looks almost like juggling. But yeah, I was just like, oh my goodness. I was so excited to see that. So part of me wishes I knew what happened to those because I feel like the original ones would be worth a lot right now. Anyways, they're somewhere.
Now, if we were going to make a joke headline for this presentation, it would be that there's a Battle Royale Mario game, Last Mario Standing, because that's the current trend. Every game that is trying to be popular at the moment has a Battle Royale mode, and Mario's no different. because Super Mario Bros. 35, and no, there's not 35 Mario Bros. Games in the main canon, although with the amount of things they've milked out of this franchise, maybe there is. We should do a count. You're going to have a head-to-head times 35. 35 players going through a Mario Brothers course, but every enemy you kill goes onto someone else's screen.
Yep.
So you could get absolutely swarmed, because think about this, right? It starts off, there's 5 enemies on your map, and there's 35 of you. Mm-hmm. When you get eliminated down to the last 5, that's 150 enemies that are going to be squeezed amongst those 5 games. There'll be 30 on each screen. Mm-hmm. So by the end, that is going to be frantic and crazy.
And that is where I feel like I'm really looking forward to seeing gamers streaming, especially people like Donkey, who, get really into this kind of stuff. I feel like that's going to be something that they'll get addicted to and flourish in.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing some Twitch streams of that.
Now, that's dropping October 1st, and that's also limited. It's going to be only playable until the end of March next year, and that I don't mind, because that's an anniversary thing. But I don't like when games go away. I like things to exist and not to leave. Is that wrong of me? I just want the games to exist.
Nothing wrong with wanting, even if it is a trash game, to still want it to do well in some little niche corner.
So that was Nintendo's big, amazing powerhouse. Now, there are some upset people that Mario Galaxy 2 has just been forgotten about, apparently. But the fact that you can now play so many NES, Super Nintendo, now we've got 64, we've got GameCube, we've got Wii, we've got Wii U. All these titles are going to be available to play on one console. I love that. It may not be direct backwards compatibility because they're remastered and designed to operate on the Switch, but I love when you can access an entire series on one device. That makes me very happy. Now, interestingly enough, that's Nintendo, the current console people making all these big announcements.
Yeah.
We have supposedly 2 months until the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 are supposed to launch.
Yeah.
And both companies are yet to announce official release dates, official prices.
They're like Elmer Fudd. Be very, very quiet.
They don't want to say anything that they cannot commit to, I assume. That's why everyone's being so quiet.
Maybe.
We've got not Tokyo Game Show. We've got maybe it is Tokyo Game Show. I don't know. There's something coming up soon that Microsoft literally had a tweet that said, we're going to announce some cool games. We're going to show you some updates of what's been in the works, all this sort of stuff. There'll be no news of the new consoles. Like a big X in front of it. Just don't even ask. And we are TikToking, running out of time. So what do you think? Do you think the no news is bad news? Because I have an inkling that it is.
It's hard to say. It seems like a very poor marketing strategy if it was. I think people expected to know a rough price range by this point so they could start, budgeting for Christmas. But yeah, it has been very, very quiet on that front. So either that means there's been a snag in the production as far as things getting done because of this pandemic. Hard to say.
It's entirely possible we're at a standoff because both companies want the other to make the first move so then they can counter price accordingly.
Possibly.
Or release one a week before the other. So if Microsoft announces a launch date of the end of November, then Sony might go, well, we'll release mid-November.
Maybe they'll do it and it's out today.
No, don't do that. Sega Saturn did that.
That's right.
We know how well that went.
That up before we...
Terribly. Never stealth release a console.
Especially
ever.
in a time where people can't rush to stores physically.
Some fans are requesting or stating their case that they think that the launches should be delayed for another 6 months because there's not that many launch titles officially announced either.
That's true.
But then there are other people that are clamoring for any good thing to show up.
That's true too.
So it's difficult. What do we do? If they don't announce things and there's not that many games that are going to be available on launch, we probably won't pull the trigger on day one if it doesn't look worthwhile. So,
See, to me, that's part of the deal is launch packages. Like we have bundles from different tech stores here in Australia. In America, it'd be things like Best Buy and GameStop would be the equivalents to what we have with JB Hi-Fi and EB Games.
Why do America get the Best Buy? What do we get? The Good Buy?
They're more or less the same thing, just with different names. And they always do bundles when they come out, right? So you'll be like, you get this controller, you'll get maybe this game, maybe a couple of games.
But the games have to be worth it.
I found when we bought the PlayStation 4, we got that launch. So we got launch titles. We got, Infamous Second Son.
Yes.
When we got the Xbox One, we waited at least several months before we got that.
Mm-hmm.
And it had gotten to the point where people had bought games and then brought them back. So we got a few pre-owned games super cheap.
Yep, they had
in our
half
bundle.
price. They had half price pre-owned games. You could add as many as you wanted, which meant we scooped up a bunch of those launch titles 6 months later for like a quarter of the price.
Yes. So we saved a chunk of change by just holding off for a few months.
I do love saving money.
So, I mean, there is something to be said about being first in and getting to enjoy it while the hype is there. But I feel like, sometimes we get caught up in that clever marketing of not wanting to miss out, but you're not going to miss out. You will still get to play. I think it's different maybe if you are a professional gamer or, you're streaming on Twitch or something and you need fresh content, anything like that. But frankly, I'm guessing if you have enough people watching you, you probably get sent that stuff for free these days.
Well, I'm excited to hear any bit of news that's going to come out about these new consoles, preferably before they launch.
Yeah.
So we will just have to keep our ear to the ground on that. What a lovely little discussion.
I have something else I want to ask you after this.
Share the love. Follow us on Twitter at BrendoGem. That's BrendoJem.
Well, that sweeper was unexpected. It snuck up on me. What exactly did you want to ask me?
It's not completely it's a mixed topic. So Twitch, we were talking about streaming just before.
Yes.
And it's a big platform. Obviously, a lot of people can make a living off of it these days, of being gamers that stream, do commentary, are silly or are really good competitively. And I wanted to get your thoughts about, in particular, wrestlers that stream. It's kind of come under a little bit of controversy, not because of what they're doing, but because of a particular wrestling promotion has basically blanket banned their wrestlers from streaming on Twitch, in particular under their wrestling name.
Yes.
So that they're not using the brand that they basically own.
Interesting thing
to make
about
money.
Wrestlers is that they are moved into celebrity status by being a character, but the person portraying the character has a bit of freedom as far as how to present the character.
And sometimes it's them themselves. Like sometimes it's not really a character, it's just their personality turned up to 11.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a grey area.
Yeah, there are pros and cons both ways. A lot of the wrestlers connect with fans on these extra platforms like Twitch, and as a result may bring in more business for the company. But if you're using the character's name to associate yourself in your own spare time activities away from the business, that can be seen as profiteering, making a little money on the side that should be the company's money.
All right, let me play devil's advocate then, right? Because there is the channel Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yes.
And Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed, is initially when he first started that, was using that as an extra avenue to, have fun, but also to make money, and did so quite successfully.
I remember his old low-quality videos of him playing Slender in a hotel room and hurting his neck because he flinched so hard.
The good old early days of very blurry videos. Anyways, but because it did so well, the company basically decided to put their stamp of approval on it and say, we want this. You've done something successful. We'll have some of that. Thank you. And because they've done that, essentially he's doing what you could argue that they're banning others from attempting to get to that level.
Yeah, but it's in the company's control, and the company will get the
It wasn't
benefits.
initially, though.
But then they moved it in. But it doesn't always work out well, not to make this a wrestling podcast. Don't forget Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona had his successful YouTube series, which then they also enveloped into themselves and completely destroyed the creative content of it.
Yeah.
And it died a miserable death. So people are trying
It's
to
called
do
the WWE Tetra.
people are trying to do their own thing away from the big company and have fun and connect with the fans and just have some fun. But it would be like if Chris Evans started a YouTube channel, Official Captain America. And he was dressed in Captain America and just doing his own thing and doing whatever he wanted as Captain America in his Captain America suit. But it's not authorized by Marvel, all these actions and this discussion and the profits. Would that cause an issue?
He does visit children in hospital as Captain America.
Now, if he made his actual thing Official Mr. America and had a different type of suit, then that's fine. It's all good. So there are pros and cons both ways. But as far as video gaming, why can't we all just have fun and enjoy video games as a community? Because there's money to be made, that's why. We'll be back after this with our gaming goals for the future. Let's look to the future.
Share the love. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gaming Lovers.
Speaking of Captain America, since you brought him up just before the break, new Marvel game came out.
Marvel Avengers.
Potentially on your list of games you want to play. Where does it lie on your interest levels?
See, that's a difficult one because it has a good campaign. By all reports, the campaign itself is enjoyable. But the campaign is the setup to the online multiplayer grind and loot and collectible fun. Similar to Destiny style of gameplay, where you run missions to get experience and get loot and get skills, so you can run missions and get loot and get skills, so you can run missions.
Did it do an Anthem, basically?
An Anthem with a good campaign. Some reviewers say you can just play the campaign of Marvel Avengers and turn it off after that and you'll be happy. But your characters will be like level 10 out of 50 and you won't have access to all the skill trees and you won't have access to all the special powers and stuff like that. So are you really getting the whole game? Now, the multiplayer side of things is currently very bland, as is often the case with so many live service games.
Yeah.
They start off bleh, like
get it up there and then we'll make patches.
like the difference of having a delicious gigantic burger and starting off with just a bun. We have the bun. We have Captain America's buns available.
That's America's buns.
America's buns are all we have right now as far as the multiplayer system. So this is a game I will keep my eye on because I would personally be happy, mostly I guess, playing through just the campaign and abandoning ship.
Maybe when it drops in price and then you're only paying for basically that part of the game.
Yep. Or if the multiplayer gets really good and can't be avoided, maybe then we'll try it.
That's one thing I got angry again at when I was replaying through Mass Effect 3 was that all these features that they had added to be online sections of the game.
Yes.
From multiplayer to the app that they had to help boost your war readiness and things that you cannot improve in the single player campaign at all. They're basically all those servers and that are shut down. The app doesn't work anymore.
Yep. You used to get either use that app or used to get me to play multiplayer to boost that readiness score.
Yes.
And that's the problem with games that rely on online connectivity because the servers will not always be there.
Yes. And I mean, it's not that old of a game and it's already, that part of it's kind of dead. So that kind of irked me and that's why I still have such resentment towards video games that seem to have everything hinging on that. If you're going to have a single player campaign, let it stand alone. So that way, at least if, the servers go offline one day, that there's still something that those who are disconnected can still enjoy for their money.
Yeah.
Anyways, rant over.
Anyways, well, maybe in the future, if you're listening to this from 2051, perhaps all you can play is the campaign of Marvel Avengers. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
If you can find one of those ancient 4K TVs.
Oh gosh, there's going to be a day when 4K seems so basic.
4K, is that all you have? Goodness.
It's already been superseded by 5K. Anyways.
We're up to 4MLCXVII now. So who's the real cool kids? Now, within this fortnight, Super Mario 3D All-Stars will launch, depending on if our delivery makes it here this fortnight, because that comes out on the 18th of this month.
Yeah.
And look, I'm saying it's the number one bestseller on Amazon right now. So I'm one of the cool kids who fell into the Nintendo's marketing trap. But we might be able to play some lovely Nintendo games, some lovely Mario games.
I look forward to just running around Peach's castle again.
Yeah.
Because that's how I did most of the time when I played 64.
Well, I kind of want you to evolve beyond childhood in Mario 64. I want you to experience more than just Bomb Battlefield.
I reckon they've probably made it harder, though.
No.
You don't know.
Hopefully you're just better. Hopefully. You need to get all 120 stars so you can see what secret lies on the roof of the castle.
I wonder if we can break it the same way you can on the 64 as far as like jumping through walls and stuff.
No, do new skill.
That is a skill.
New skill. What are you going to play this month? This fortnight.
Aside from Dragon Age Inquisition and probably Fall Guys, I've been itching to play Overcooked 2 again. But that requires both of us to have free time.
It doesn't. You could play 2 players on your 2 hands.
I have
Just
played...
like Sakurai plays Smash Brothers.
I can play 1 player. I've done that before. It's not as enjoyable.
2 controllers.
I'd rather
like
use
a keyboard.
I'd rather use the 1 controller. I think that's hard enough.
We can play some Overcooked 2 this fortnight. I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
I will allow
Well,
it.
thank you for deigning to allow me to play a game with you.
I will be focusing on Ghost of Tsushima whenever my good buddy the Falcon is not available for online sessions. And when he is, Resident Evil 5 is charging along nicely, setting me up for future Resident Evil games because guess what happens next month? It's Spooky Month.
Oh.
Back again.
No.
Like a menacing creature from the depths.
Can I pick 1 game for you? 1 game that may not be spooky, but like in a way that frightens you.
I'll admit my heart just accelerated. Save that in your back pocket as a secret weapon.
Okay.
We're not there yet. We've still got a couple of episodes until we get into Spooky Month.
Okay.
But that's my primary goals. And look, I may try and grab a crown in Fall Guys, but I'm not good at that game, so I hate it.
We have reverted back to early days of Brendo. If he was not good at something, that meant the game sucked.
It does. It's imbalanced. That's all I'm saying. Imbalanced, unbalanced.
It's kind of the point. So that way you fall. Thanks again for joining us.
Oh, I get... That's actually really funny.
Oh, honey.
It took me a while to get that one. Yes, let's get out of here.
Until next time, sayonara.
It's a me, Brendo. Yahoo! Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. For more episodes or to watch some live stream gaming, visit thegaminglovers.com.